Hi, my name's Adele Li. I'm from Chinese International School and I am the 2024 winner of the Hong Kong Young Writers Award Poetry Category 5.
Please share with us how you benefited from entering a writing competition.
Sure, so I would say this writing competition helped me to be more adaptable and precise in my writing, largely because I used to see poetry as a hobby. I would write like mostly free form. I would use it as a way to express my feelings about like social issues or even real life events that happened in my life. And when I would submit my writing to publications, they were never ever related to a theme as specific or niche as New Tales of China's Inventions. And so poetry, I found my writing to be a little bit ambiguous and just definitely not, the meaning was not as directed as I think the poetry submissions of the Hong Kong Young Writers Award. And so entering a competition where the task was to write about something related to Chinese history was challenging for me in two regards. Number one, I had to do my own research. And number two, I had to keep the nuances of Chinese history and all the details so that I was adhering to the theme while also making sure that my writing was like beautiful and poetic and packaging it in sort of an abstract form. And so I sort of had to whittle down the meaning of my writing a bit more. I had to pay a lot more attention to the flow of my poem. And at the end of the day, I think it made me a more adaptable writer because it gave me the opportunity to produce a very precise piece of work.
Did winning your category in the Hong Kong Young Writers Award motivate you to write more and enter other competitions?
Sure. So right after I received the award, a week after, I went to Australia for a public speaking competition, which I had been preparing for a couple months. Right after I got back from Australia, I had my IB mock exams for year 12. All that's to say that in the direct time after winning the award, I didn't have any time or opportunity to enter any more competitions. But surprisingly, I find that this experience is sort of helping me in writing my college essays because for the poem that I had written, I was telling someone else's story in my own words. And that gave me the techniques and sort of applications necessary to write my own story and kind of capture my entire personhood in the 650 word Common App essay, which I'm using to apply to schools in the United States where I hope to attend. So anytime I feel discouraged about my Common App essay progress, I'll look back at the poem that I wrote and kind of appreciate the work and effort that went into creating a piece of work that I was really, really proud of. And so, yeah, maybe it didn't directly affect my, poetry writing career. It helped me a lot with expressing myself in other ways through the college application process.
What skill do you think helped you to win?
Okay, obviously creativity, but I think that's a very typical answer given the nature of this competition. So I would have to say persistence. And I don't mean like I would sit at my desk for 12 hours straight and just be writing the entire time. I mean like sticking with a piece of work even if it's causing a lot of difficulties or frustrations. Because with the nature of this competition, there were just a lot of things I had to capture in my writing and I had to educate myself first before I could tell another person's story. And so there were a lot of times where I would get kind of stuck in like the syntax and the phrasing of things. I was unhappy with the way I was maybe presenting a fact in my writing. And I just reminded myself to take a break, kind of go out for a walk, and then come back and always return to the piece of work because I believed that I would get there in the end, which is why persistence would be the word I'd use to describe that. And I think it paid off because the end result kind of came about from this one really intense session at like 11 p.m. before school when I was just sitting on my couch. But the reason why that worked was because leading up to that, I had, hours of sitting out. I went to the beach a couple times because I was so stuck on inspiration. And in doing all that, it really built the momentum that I needed to kind of finish it in one run at the end. So I would say persistence, but of course, don't forget the basic skills like creativity and I guess just like technical skills in terms of writing, which I believe is an answer to a different question, right?
Yeah. Do you have any writing tips for students looking to enter this year's competition?
Sure. First of all, when deciding a topic to write about, I would say try to go for the unexpected or the unpredictable. I understand that this year's theme is on dinosaurs, and so you could talk about a recently, oh, that's not going to be possible, let's say, dinosaur that was discovered but that not a lot of people know of, and you can really spin your own story through these little details that might be overlooked by history. For me, I took the story of the inventor of silk, and I wrote a poem from the perspective of her husband, the Yellow Emperor, talking about how she left an indelible impact on the world through her creation. And so even though she was gone, he was still able to see her tangible impact in the form of like silk that was being traded on the Silk Road, etc. And so I took a story that I had definitely heard of before, and yet I found these little details that I hadn't heard of before and created a story, because that way you can sort of distinguish yourself from other people who might not be choosing a topic as niche or as unpredictable. And then in terms of writing, I would say just let yourself write. For me, I struggle a lot with writer's block as someone who studies English literature higher level in the IB. And a lot of the time I overcome that by just letting myself write garbage, or letting myself write maybe in a way that I wouldn't be, entirely happy to submit. If you allow yourself to like stay in the creative flow, no matter how bad you think your writing is, at the very least you have a base to sort of paraphrase off of or rewrite when you gain some more inspiration. So don't set up mental blocks for yourself by expecting your writing to be perfect on the first try.